So today's lecture is middle ear cavity. So if you see, this is the external ear, pinna, external auditory canal. This space is the middle ear, which you see in pink color. And this is the inner ear, where you see the uncoiled cochlea. So this cavity we have to study, the middle ear cavity. The main function of this cavity and sound wave transmit to this pinna, external auditory canal. It goes into the middle ear, and this chain of ossicles, ear ossicles, and it is transmitted to the inner ear. So, the middle ear, it is the sandwich between the external ear and the internal ear. As you see here, this is the external ear, which you see in orange, and this is internal ear, which you see in blue. So in between this cavity is the middle ear cavity, which you see in pink. So it is also called as tympanum or the tympanic cavity. It is also called as tympanum or the tympanic cavity. It is a narrow slit-like air-filled cavity. So here you can see it is narrow cavity and it is filled with the air. Is filled with the air. Where it is present? It is present in the temporal bone, in the petrous part of the temporal bone. So this cavity is present in the petrous part of the temporal bone. We have studied all the bones of skull. Here you see the temporal bone and this cavity which is present in the petrous part of the temporal bone. So, am I clear? This middle ear cavity, why it is called as middle ear cavity? Because it is sandwiched between external ear and internal ear. Here you see more closer view. Here you see the external acoustic meatus. This part will be the middle ear cavity. And this is the internal ear. Here you see the cochlea and semicircular canals. So this middle ear cavity, this part is the middle ear cavity. Now, middle ear, it is, if you see, it is like a cube. So we can imagine a cube which is compressed from both the sides. So if you see in coronal section, it resembles like a biconvex disc. Here you can see it resembles like biconvex disc. It is compressed from medial side as well as lateral side. It is compressed from medial side as well as from lateral side. So this is the lateral wall. Opposite to this is the medial wall of the middle ear cavity. Right? It is like a cube. What do you see? It has anterior wall. It has posterior wall. It has roof. It has floor. It has medial wall. It has lateral wall which is open, which we cannot see in this figure. The lateral wall is open, so we are seeing the structures inside the cavity. We have removed the lateral wall. In this figure, you can see this is the part of the temporal bone. This is the mastoid process, this is styloid process, this is external acoustic meatus. Okay, so this is the temporal bone, and inside this, where is the cavity shown? This is pink color cavity. This part we are seeing, the middle ear cavity. Okay. So it is like a cube shape, and it resembles in coronal section like biconvex disc. Like here you can see biconvex disc, which is compressed from medial side and lateral side. It is compressed from medial side and lateral side. Here you can see it has anterior wall, posterior wall. This is anterior wall. You can see this is anterior wall. This is posterior wall. This is roof. This is floor. And this is medial wall. And lateral wall, which should be removed. Okay. Then what are the measurements? If you see this middle ear cavity, the vertical diameter of the middle ear cavity is 15 millimeter. Here we see the vertical diameter is of 15 millimeter. The antero-posterior diameter of the middle ear cavity is 15 millimeter. So vertical and antero-posterior diameter of this cavity is same, that is 15 millimeter. Then we see the transverse diameter. In the upper part, it is 6 millimeter. In the center, it is 2 millimeter. At the floor, it is 4 millimeter. So 6 to 4. That shows in the middle part, it is compressed. Okay. So 6 millimeter at the roof, at the floor 4 millimeter, and in middle part, it is 2 millimeter. So this is the measurements of the middle ear cavity. Then this cavity, how it communicates with the structures anteriorly and posteriorly. If you see this figure, it is a diagrammatic representation of the middle ear cavity. So this is the anterior wall and this is posterior wall. Okay, anterior wall which will communicate with the pharyngotympanic tube through pharyngotympanic tube to the nasopharynx or the auditory tube to the nasopharynx. Okay. So this is the anterior communication. What is the posterior communication? Posteriorly, it communicates with the mastoid antrum. Here you can see in this figure the mastoid process. So posteriorly, through this auditus, it communicates with the mastoid process. So anteriorly, with the nasopharynx, it communicates to the nasopharynx via the pharyngotympanic tube or the auditory tube, and posteriorly it is communicate with the mastoid antrum and the mastoid air cells through the auditus. So anterior communication, posterior communication. And very first figure, here you can see this will be the lateral wall which is formed by the tympanic membrane, and this is the medial wall. So From lateral wall, it will communicate with the external auditory canal, and medial wall, it will communicate with the internal ear, the inner ear. So, and the contents of this middle ear, there is mucous membrane lining the middle ear cavity, which creates a folds which project into the cavity, and it gives the honeycomb appearance to the cavity. So, as we see in this figure, this is the anterior wall, this is the posterior wall. Okay. So, anterior wall, here you can see the communication of the anterior wall to the nasopharynx through the pharyngotympanic tube, and posterior to the mastoid antrum. This is the mastoid process, and this is the mastoid antrum. Outside the mucous line, there are what are the structures which are present in the outside the mucous lining in the cavity. There are three small bone named as ear ossicles, named as malleus, incus, and the stapes. Malleus, incus, and stapes. There are two muscles, that is tensor tympani and stapedius. Two muscles, that is tensor tympani and stapedius. Two nerves, that is chorda tympani and tympanic plexus, which are formed by many nerves. You see lateral. Okay. The two nerves, mainly the chorda tympani and the tympanic plexus. Then vessels supplying the middle ear, the ligaments of the ear ossicles, and the air. Main content is the air. So these are the content of the tympanic cavity. These are the content of the tympanic cavity. I am repeating. There are three ear ossicles from each side. Okay. So malleus, incus, and stapes, two muscles, the tensor tympani and stapedius, and two nerves, the chorda tympani and tympanic plexus. Vessels supplying the middle ear cavity, ligaments of the ear ossicles. Subdivisions of this middle ear. So this middle ear cavity is divided again into three parts: the epitympanum, mesotympanum, and hypotympanum. If you see, epi is above, so it is a part above the tympanic membrane, consisting the head of malleus and body and the process of incus. So here you can see this part. This is the tympanic membrane. We have to study this cavity in relation with the tympanic membrane. So above the tympanic membrane, this part the epitympanum. Okay, where there is presence of head of malleus. Yes, this is the body of incus. And processes of incus. Then mesotympanum. It is the part opposite to the tympanic membrane. Consists of handle of malleus and long process of incus and the stapes. So here you can see this is the part which is opposite to the tympanic membrane. This is the tympanic membrane. This part opposite to the tympanic membrane. This is called as the mesotympanum. And there is presence of handle of malleus. This is handle of malleus. Then processes of incus and the stapes. And the part below this part is called as the hypotympanum. So the part below the tympanic membrane is called as the hypotympanum. So it is this middle ear cavity is divided into epitympanum, mesotympanum and hypotympanum. The part above the tympanic membrane, this part is called as epitympanum. This is the mesotympanum, which lies opposite to the tympanic membrane, and this will be the hypotympanum, which lies below the tympanic membrane. So this is the division of the tympanic cavity. If you see, this is middle ear cavity or the tympanic cavity. It's like a tube. So it having the wall, what we have seen, it has different walls. So this wall, this is the anterior wall. This is posterior wall. Anteriorly, it will communicate with the nasopharynx through the pharyngotympanic tube. So this will be the anterior wall. This is the posterior wall. It has roof. Okay. We have seen any spaces in our body. If there is space, it has walls, it has floor, and it has roof. It may be triangular space or it may be quadrangular space. Okay. So here you see anterior wall, this is posterior wall, roof, floor, and this will be the medial wall, what you are seeing here. And the lateral wall is removed. We are seeing inside the tympanic cavity. We are seeing inside the tympanic cavity. So one by one we see these walls. So if you see the roof, here you can see this is the roof. Okay. So it is formed by thin plate of bone. It is called as tegmen tympani. Tegmen tympani. It divides the tympanic cavity from middle cranial fossa. So above this, if you see, above this, what will be there? You see one figure. Here you can see. So this is again the picture of the schematic diagram of the tympanic cavity, where you see this is the roof, okay, and it is separated by the plate of bone, that is tegmen tympani, and from the middle cranial fossa, where there will be the temporal lobe of the cerebral hemisphere, which is covered by the pia mater, arachnoid matter, and dura mater. So roof is formed by the thin plate of bone, that is tegmen tympani, and it is separated from the middle ear cavity to the middle cranial fossa, where there will be the temporal lobe of the cerebral hemisphere, which is covered by the pia mater, arytenoid matter, and dura mater. So this is the tegmen tympani. This tegmen tympani also goes posteriorly, and it forms the roof of the auditus of the mastoid antrum. So if you see, this roof also goes posteriorly to form the roof of the auditus of the mastoid antrum. This is auditus is a opening. Okay? So it forms the roof of the auditus of the mastoid antrum. Because posteriorly there will be the mastoid process and the mastoid antrum. There will be the mastoid hair cells. Now the floor. Floor, it is formed by the thin plate of bone again, which is separates the tympanic cavity from the internal jugular vein or jugular bulb. So if you see the floor of this cavity, see, this is the floor of the cavity. It separates this from the internal jugular vein or the jugular bulb. Separates the tympanic cavity from the internal jugular vein, and a branch that is tympanic branch from the glossopharyngeal nerve comes from the floor, which enters through the tympanic canaliculi, which comes into the tympanic cavity. So here you can see a branch which is coming from the floor. This is bulb of internal jugular vein, a branch which is coming from the tympanic canaliculi. This is the tympanic branch of the glossopharyngeal nerve, which forming the tympanic plexus or the promontory. What you see, which comes into the tympanic cavity from the floor. Okay, this is the tympanic branch of the glossopharyngeal nerve. Which take part in the formation of tympanic plexus. So this is about the floor. Then anterior wall. We have seen anterior wall. It is communicated through the pharyngotympanic tube or auditory tube to the nasopharynx. So in the upper part of the anterior wall, there are two openings. Here you see, this is the figure. This is the, this is the anterior wall. Here you can see. This is the pharyngotympanic tube, which communicate the middle ear cavity to the nasopharynx, through the auditory tube. It communicate to the nasopharynx through the auditory tube. In the upper part of this anterior wall, there is again a canal for the muscle called as tensor tympani. Muscle called as tensor tympani. So if you see the anterior wall, in the upper part there are two openings. That is, one is for the auditory tube and above it for the tensor tympani muscle. So the two openings in the anterior wall. In this figure, you can see this is the coronal section through the middle ear cavity. Here you can see how you see from the this side of your body. This is the transverse section. Here you can see the anterior wall of the tympanic cavity. In the lower part of this wall, here you see that it is formed by the thin plate of bone which forms the posterior wall of the carotid canal. So, if you see this figure in the lower part, this is the thick, in the lower part of the anterior wall, it is formed by the thin plate of the bone which forms the posterior wall of the carotid canal. This is the internal carotid artery which lies anterior to it, and this forms the posterior wall of this lower part of the carotid canal. So this plate which separates the middle ear cavity from the internal carotid artery. And this plate is perforated by the caroticotympanic nerve, tympanic branch of the internal carotid artery. Tympanic branch of the internal carotid artery. So here you can see this plate is pierced by the tympanic branch of the internal carotid artery and the caroticotympanic nerves, which separates the which forms the posterior wall of the carotid canal, posterior wall of the carotid canal, and which is present in the anterior wall of the lower part of the tympanic cavity, which is present in the anterior wall of the anterior wall of the tympanic cavity. It is formed by superiorly or in upper part it is formed by the two openings, the auditory tube and the tensor tympani muscle for the canal for the tensor tympani. In the lower part it is formed by a thin bony plate which separates the middle ear cavity from the internal carotid artery, and which plate forms the posterior wall of the carotid canal, which is pierced by internal carotid tympanic branch of the internal carotid artery and caroticotympanic nerves. Caroticotympanic nerves. Now, there is a bony septum which is present between the two canals, that is auditory tube and canal for the tensor tympani muscle. So this is called as processus cochleariformis. This septum is called as this is the septum. It is called as processus cochleariformis. It separates the two canals in the upper part, that is auditory tube and the canal for the tensor tympani. So this is clear, the anterior structures. Now we see the posterior wall. Posterior wall we can see in this figure. What you see? This part. Posteriorly, the cavity is separated from the mastoid antrum. So if you see this section like this, we see the posteriorly the mastoid process. okay, posteriorly mastoid process. So this is the mastoid process. So this cavity is separated from the mastoid process posteriorly. So posterior wall is formed by, first it divides the cavity from the mastoid antrum. Then superiorly in the posterior part there is an opening, what we are seeing, that is auditus in the upper part, where the tympanic cavity which will communicate with the, yes, mastoid antrum. So in this figure we can see this is the posterior wall of the tympanic cavity. Okay, posterior wall of the tympanic cavity. Here you can see the auditus. Okay. So this is auditus for the mastoid antrum. This is the tympanic cavity. So superiorly there is called as the auditus in the upper part, through which this tympanic cavity which communicate with the mastoid antrum. Then there will be the fossa incudis. It is a depression which is close to the auditus, lodging the process of incus, called as the fossa incudis. Then there is the pyramid or the conical projection which is present below the auditus. So fossa incudis not shown here. There is a pyramidal conical projection where you can see there is attachment of the stapedius muscle tendon. This is called as a pyramidal eminence, which is present just below the auditus. That is pyramid. Pyramid, which is the conical projection below the auditus, and it has an opening for the passage of, yes, it gives the attachment for the tendon of the stapedius muscle. Then posterior canaliculi for the chorda tympani is a small aperture through which the nerve enter into the middle ear. This is the posterior canaliculi or the posterior wall through which a small branch from the, yes, that is chorda tympani, which enters into the middle ear cavity. Okay, which enters into the middle ear cavity. Then there will be the vertical part of the facial canal. Okay. Vertical part of the facial canal which runs in the posterior wall just behind the pyramid and descend up to the stylomastoid process. So if you see, this is the, yes, this is the facial canal, light yellow color. Can you see? This is the facial canal. So vertical part of the facial canal which is present in the posterior wall. Okay. Vertical part of the, yes, facial canal which is present in the posterior wall, and it goes up to the stylo. Lodging the process of incus. Third will be the pyramid, that is pyramidal eminence, which is triangular, and it gives attachment for the, yes, tendon of the stapes. Then fourthly, there will be the, yes, will be the auditus for the passage of the chorda tympani. Yes, canaliculus for the passage of chorda tympani. Now, through this, yes, through this posterior wall into the middle ear cavity. And lastly, there will be the vertical part of the, yes, facial nerve. This is the vertical part of the facial nerve, which passes through this and which opens into the stylomastoid foramen. So these are some structures which are present in the posterior wall, okay, which are present in the posterior wall. Then medial wall. What we are seeing here is the cavity. This one, this will be the medial wall of the tympanic cavity. The medial wall of the tympanic cavity. This medial wall, it separates the cavity from the internal ear. So medial to it, again there will be the internal ear. Very first figure we have seen the medial wall and lateral wall. So this is the medial wall. These are the features of the medial wall, what you see. And you can see this is the anterior wall where you can see the tensor tympani muscle. This is the, yes, vertical section to the, yes, from the left side, the left middle ear cavity where you see this is the anterior wall where it communicates, yes, through the auditory tube to the nasopharynx, the upper opening or the canal for the tensor tympani muscle. This is posterior wall where it communicates with the, yes, mastoid antrum through the, yes, mastoid antrum through the mastoid, yes, auditus, and these are the mastoid air cells. This is the stylomastoid foramen which we have seen, which is this canal which is present in the posterior wall, the vertical part of the stylomastoid canal, okay, which is present in the posterior wall. This is the direction. Then this will be the medial wall. As we have removed the lateral wall, we can see only the medial wall. Lateral wall is removed in this section. So we'll see the features of the medial wall. As it separates the tympanic cavity from the inner ear, there is a bulge called as the promontory, a rounded bulge which is produced by the first turn of the cochlea. So here you can see this is the rounded bulge or the promontory which is produced by the first turn of the cochlea. And over this promontory, what you see here, these are the tympanic plexus. Some elevation. Here you can see these are the tympanic plexus. Okay. Then there is a oval window or called as the fenestra vestibulare. Oval window or called as the fenestra vestibulare. It is an opening situated posterior superiorly to the promontory and it is closed by footplate of the stapes. So here you can see this part is the, yes, fenestra vestibulare, the oval window where there will be the, yes, it is covered by the foot plate of the stapes which is present in the posterior-superior part of the promontory. And if you see posterior-inferior part of the promontory, there will be the fossa or the round window. It is called as the round window or the fenestra cochleae. It is again a small opening which is present posterior-inferiorly to the promontory. So the two openings here you can see, one is posterior-superior part of the medial wall and one is posterior-inferior part of the medial wall. This is the oval window and this will be the round window. This is oval window is an opening which is situated posterior-superiorly to the promontory and it is closed by the footplate of the stapes. And lower part posterior-inferiorly there will be the round window or fenestra cochleae. It is a small rounded opening which is present in the posterior-inferior to the promontory. It opens into the scala tympani of cochlea. If you see this figure, very first, we have seen this figure. This is the middle ear cavity. This is the malleus. This is incus, and this is stapes. Here you can see the oval window. And here you can see the round window. That is fenestra vestibuli and fenestra cochleae. This is the inner ear, where you can see this is uncoiled structure of cochlea having the this part is called as the scala vestibuli and this part is called as the scala tympani. Okay, so this will communicate with the scala vestibuli. Round window, it opens into the scala tympani of the cochlea and closed by the secondary tympanic membrane. It is closed by the secondary tympanic membrane. A prominence of facial canal which we see run backwards above the fenestra vestibuli. So here you can see the prominence of the facial canal. This is the horizontal part. The vertical part we have seen in the posterior wall of the facial canal. Here you can see this is the prominence over the medial wall. This is the prominence of the facial canal where the facial nerve runs from this posterior wall to the medial wall. This is the facial nerve. So there is a prominence of the facial canal runs backwards above the fenestra vestibuli to reach the lower margin of the auditus. There is again a prominence for the lateral semicircular canal above the facial canal. So again we can see there is a prominence for the lateral semicircular canal above this facial canal. So if you see the diagrammatic representation of this, all feature you can see. This is the promontory. This is the tympanic plexus over the promontory. This is oval window. This is round window. This is prominence for the facial canal, and above it there is the prominence for the lateral semicircular canal. These are the features for the medial wall of the tympanic cavity. These are the features for the medial wall of the tympanic cavity. Now we are going to lateral wall. So this is the lateral wall of the tympanic cavity. Lateral wall, in this part we have removed the lateral wall. In this figure we have removed the lateral wall and directly we can see the medial wall of the cavity. So the lateral wall in this figure you can see mainly it is formed by this tympanic membrane. This is the lateral wall. It is formed by the tympanic membrane. So the lateral wall which communicates or separates the tympanic cavity from the external auditory meatus. It separates the tympanic cavity from the external auditory meatus and it is formed by tympanic membrane and squamous temporal bone. It is formed by the tympanic membrane and squamous temporal bone. So near the tympanic notch, there are two small apertures, that is petrotympanic fissure, which lies in front and upper end of the bony limb, lodges the anterior process of malleus. So this is the lateral wall of the tympanic cavity. Okay, from the inner side we are seeing. The inner side, lateral wall from inner aspect. Okay, this is the anterior wall where you can see the eustachian tube. This is tensor tympani muscle. This is mastoid hair cells, mastoid process which is not seen here. This is facial nerve, that is stylomastoid foramen. And these are the structures we can see. This is the tympanic membrane, what we are seeing, and there are two canals which are present here. So, petrotympanic fissure, which lies in front of the upper end of the bony limb, lodges the anterior process of malleus and transmit the tympanic branch of maxillary artery. So this is the petrotympanic fissure. Here you can see there will be the anterior where there will be lodgement of the anterior process of the malleus and transmit the tympanic branch of the maxillary artery, and just below that the anterior canaliculus for the chorda tympani nerve. This is the anterior canaliculus for the chorda tympani nerve. This is the chorda tympani nerve. So here you can see the anterior canaliculus for the chorda tympani nerve. So these are the features of the lateral wall of the tympanic cavity, where the chorda tympani nerve, which is a branch from the facial nerve that you know, it enters into the tympanic cavity via the posterior canaliculus, posterior wall, and leaves through it through the anterior canaliculus and emerges from the base of the skull. So these we have seen the structures or the walls of the tympanic cavity. Other structures we'll see remaining part in the next lecture.